important in all of my work is the body. And in all my early work, I was actually accused of being too sensual and too provocative in the material because I regarded the female and the male body as really gorgeous and important and beautiful. And there were very fine dancers in 1986. Even though that was 40 years ago, believe me, there were beautiful dancers. So that's that. That's state of the art. A sort of innocent, obvious political piece. Nothing subtle. Nothing subtle. Nobody can miss it. Yeah. Generally speaking, the political issues are sometimes hidden as a subtext and a layer down. And not quite so obvious and simplistic as this.
Is art merchandise? What do you think about that?
Well, I wish I could bring a better price.
Okay, so I want to comment that. So maybe we can see the other video. So I continue the whole idea of messing with the media and also messing with our politicians. But this was a trailer, a story to a piece for stage. It was called Cover Up. So the whole idea was to steal from the politicians what they have said and done that was obviously a lie in media, but to take it back to theater. Because this was so clearly theater, so I wanted it back to the theater. So we did steal what they did, actions and what they said, and we restaged it on a theater stage. It was called Cover Up. And the whole idea that humans are just a piece of meat in the whole political industrial arena was posed. So I'm saying this is stolen from a Danish politician where he attacks a journalist that we had an agreement. You are not allowed to ask me those questions. That was clearly something agreed. How the media and journalists are already agreeing with our politicians what to say and how to say it. So we took that scene and that was what you saw. And I was pretending I was him, a Danish politician. That don't film me now because these are not allowed to be shown. So somebody actually filmed this guy and showed it on YouTube, and we stole it back to the theater. Yeah.
Oh, great. One thing about the two of us, we are both using any media that serves our message or serves our artistic passion. If it's visual art, we get it. We get a person that's an artist. We get the artwork. If it's music, we get the composer. We bring them in. If it's technology, they find us, we find them. The work has no limitation. It's not defined as dance. It's not defined as theater. It's not defined. It's just what it is. And it's very hard to tell the press what it is when it isn't. Right? So the piece I'm going to show you now, one of the things that interested me throughout my whole life, the first time I went abroad was to study with Mary Wiegmann 1 year after the Berlin Wall went up. And I was there studying with her for about 5 weeks in the summer in Berlin. And it was pretty intense, as you might gather. And I was at the Folkwang Schule also to study there. So I had that taste of other ideas, other people, other values, and I got it right away. So I spent my whole life trying to be in Washington and some other country. And I have done a lot of collaborations in Brazil, been there maybe 13 times, Russia maybe 11 times, several projects there, a political work in Croatia, a political work in Poland, using their issue. In Poland, it was that the town Bytom was falling into the earth because the mines under it would let the buildings drop, and the bricks would drop like that. So I made a piece for 4 women about the loss of our earth and being in the dark. So whenever I go to Brazil, we did Hekura, Spirits of the Rainforest, which was a technological work about the life in the rainforest. And as you know, our rainforests are gone. But this particular work is called Thresholds Cross. The first video was shot by Linda Lewitt. I want Linda to stand to be recognized. Linda's been a partner of mine, traveling all over the world with me and documenting these international experiences. She's a filmmaker. And this was in the North Sea of Russia, there's an island called Solovki. And Solovki established the first gulag. The Soviet-era gulag was established on Solovki Island in 14th century monastery in this amazing place. And a friend of mine, one of the most brilliant women I know, Luba from Russia, was having visual artists go to this island and use the leftover materials to design visual art. I said, why don't you have dance? So the next summer she did dance. We went there. This particular building is one of 18 architectural buildings like this in Russia. This is the only one still existent. It's spectacular. This is where the dirigible that brought food to the prisoners and to the islanders, that's where it lived. It was turned into a thing called Art Hangar for 2 years. The third year when we were there, they said we could not go into this building because the next year it was going to be renovated. So we got the key, took someone to lunch, and did this videotaping. Linda did this with one camera on a ladder. This is Anthony and I doing, this piece is about America's Guantanamo Bay. The use of the blindfold, the use of the rope, making them go naked. This is Audrey Chen, she's Chinese American. And she was there with us in the residency, which I like to always have happen. All the artists participate in the residencies. And this is the stage work. This is the Gulag section, it's the opening section, and these are Russians. I knew that I could not possibly I went to Russia for 7 years without any intention of making a dance. Then one day I was looking through the poster art, propaganda art, and I said, wow, that looks like the same as America. Wow, that looks like the same as America. And it came very clear to me that Russians and America are the same people. We've used each other to build a pyramid, and we're still doing it. It's still happening in Syria. We are two people that are very alike. And so this used all the media. I used Russian images. I used our Statue of Liberty, their motherland with the sword in one hand and her hand out in Volgograd. This particular background is an American is pushing his fist through a wire. What you first saw was the monument of the changing of the guards and the eternal flame in Russia. And now this is the eternal flame here in Washington, D.C. So whatever symbols and icons there were from one country, I just matched it with the other country. And there were 6 Russian dancers and there were 6 American dancers. And we danced together in Russia for 3 weeks, toured to 3 cities, and we performed this at Lisner. This is the videotape of this production at Lisner. This is the final section when we come to contemporary Russia and contemporary America, and we form a bond. That work was 1 hour and 30 minutes in length.
Beautiful. And what I really are so impressed with is that you have been traveling the world with your pieces and your art, and you are really a connector, a person who connects people, and you are connecting people in different ages and different artistic expressions. And as you talked about before, this to be cross-disciplinary, and people are having their own artistic expression, like musicians, dancers, playwriters, it's light designers, very advanced computerized, interactive programmers, and very, very contemporary.
Very attracted to whatever you need to make this the expression that you feel you can make. Use it, that I say, but they have to be the right person.
Yeah.
They have to be the right person who is committed in the same way that you're committed, because imagine me dancing about Russia's Gulag in Moscow and St. Petersburg and Krasnoyarsk and Arkhangelsk. I could never touch that without having the cast be Russians. And then they were able to see our Gulag and understand it. So, but the basic idea was that trying to, I don't even know what you call it, understand, I guess, for me to try and understand who I am and who we are and what are we doing and how are we doing it. And it's not even a criticism, somehow it's just a simplistic thing. So, okay, so here we are. Now, this question we'd like to ask is a little bit different.
Is all politics art?
Would someone like to hold this? This is Trump.
Oh, you don't have to.
You don't have to believe this is our Hillary. Anybody for Hillary? Hillary? Did you have them all?
Sit on your face.
Did you have them all? Anyone?
So is all politics art? What do you say about that?
What is all politics art?
I think we have got a lot of questions.
I think there is no better performance artist than Trump. So though we've stolen from politicians to make work, they've stolen from the art to make politics. And he is good. He is very good. Yeah. We cannot say fuck. It would be impossible for us to say fuck. I'm not saying that because that's not a word. Fuck isn't a word you say in public. So of course I'm not going to say fuck. It's about as good as it gets, I think. And so you have a question?
Yeah. I have many questions. Why dance at all? If all art is political, is all politics artistic? That's more or less the same question that you posed. That one question. Maybe we can get some music actually for this. Empty.
That's the first one.
Yeah, that's my own. If all art is political, is all art also propaganda?
This is a question we'll come to at the end. Does it take a special kind of person to make art? Or is it something anybody can create? That is the future. The future is looking you in the face. Everyone the artist. And if we've succeeded in the arts, perhaps the goal is to have everyone become artists. And if that's the case, if every man, every person can make art, then we have succeeded in art and doing something like having people learn to read, having people learn to fight, or whatever. It's an idea. It's an idea. I come from the school from the 60s, which was process-oriented. Oh, you couldn't talk about product. No. Talk about how you make the work, not what the work is.
But that, I think it is today. What the work is. It's very little about how we work today. It's very much about appearance, how it looks. If it looks good, we think it's okay. We have lost a lot of our ability to look beyond form, I will pose today. I actually got a question about myself. Why does Annika have high heels?